Brought to you by Surfcore2001. Goodsy, brah. This is your life.
Oh, yes, Surfcore.
Yeah. The 2006 Junior Series. I can't explain. I'm dizzy, said a patently introverted Wade to the reporters on the beach at Janjuk. A tightly contested season coming into the last event, the Moffat Beach Ambassador, was the outside chance against favourites Julian Wilson and Owen Wright. Goodsy got to work on his competitors with his unmatchable small wave progression and kettleish punts, rinsing the Y2K junior icons Laurie Towner, Ben Dunn, Heath Josk, on his way to flogging Central Coast's most washed Matty Wilco in the final. Wilco would later claim that it was his 18th birthday the night previous and he may have inhibited his own potential by headbutting chalk and sinking Sambucas until the sun came up, but that is just pure, bitter, back-chatting bullshit.
Well said.
Wade was fucking hotter than magma that year and could have beat Wilco with his fucking eyes closed. So I think Wilco should issue a formal apology for that bullshit.
Peel it back, Wilco. Peel it back. Give the man his credit.
Junior Series.
Yeah.
Shit, I never heard that statement from Wilco. That's huge.
And now that you have, are you going to take his fucking head off?
I always see him in the freezer aisle at Foodworks. I'll hit him up.
Mate, I used to commentate a lot of those Junior Series events, and we've talked about this in probably every interview we've ever done together. But you used to like get so frustrated, and I felt like, particularly with yourself, you were one of the only guys other than Aussie, and maybe I haven't seen Kaloe and Dino do it, but like who physically punched yourself in the head mid-heat.
Joe Underoos, pretty iconic.
Joe Underoos done it too, yeah. What were sort of, where did that anger come from, that frustration? Was it because you were sort of wedged into competing and it wasn't a natural fit for you, or was it because of your performance, or, you know, how come it elevated itself to a place where you had to lash out?
I don't know. I think I'm really lacking in coping mechanisms, and that's been something I've worked on my whole life. It's not something I'm proud of, punching myself in the head because of a surf contest. It's fucking lame, but I had a pretty troubled youth mentally and stuff, so that all stemmed from that. And it just deeply wanting to do good and deeply disappointed if I didn't. So, yeah, it just came from that. I was just, pissed off at myself a lot.
Instead of wanting to take the competitor's fucking head off.
Yeah, I never really...
Wade wanted to take his own fucking head off.
Yeah. Fuck, you have to do a lot for me to be mad at you. But it doesn't take a lot for me to be pissed off at myself. So I'm still working on that, for sure. That'll be a lifelong thing, trying to better myself, I think.
Your own worst critic, isn't it, true, Vaughan?
Oh, mate.
Aren't we all our own worst
critics? The head noise that goes on up here between 3 and 5 in the morning sometimes.
But it's good to be aware of that shit. And I look back in that, like, obviously embarrassed, but also fully take knowledge of it and try not to keep that up.
Did the Junior Series...
I quit that pretty much when I quit that, you know.
Was it, I mean, being part of that Billabong team, it was such a massive team by the time you're sort of leaving the Junior Series. Did you know straight away that just comps, that was it, you were done? Did you QE grind for a bit?
I did QE grind for a bit. The Junior Series was so mental. When I was doing it, it was like insanely fun. It was, everyone on there was really fucking cool. People from Hawaii were coming over. It was so many events in a year. We pretty much had a like full blown year.
Big names too, right? I mean,
yeah.
this
Really
is
good
like Julian
surfing,
Wilson,
like
Owen
mental.
Wright era.
Like when I came into it, I saw like Fano and Bede and Joel Parker like leave in their last year or whatever, you know. So like that's the kind of shit that I was following
and win CTs
exactly. They went
that year,
straight away. Yeah,
wow.
Crazy.
So the level was crazy for that series at that point, and it continued like all the way through. My era was maybe a bit more rogue. I feel like I think like a lot of natural talent and a lot of fun boys as well at the same time.
Well played, fun boys. Respect to the fun boys.
But then it like came just under us, and it's like the guys like Owen and Julian and Wilco, and that went on to great like CT success. So like that whole time, the Junior Series, and there was money in it, and it was just real fun. Everyone, as soon as you got knocked out, you would just go to the hill and party, and everyone would be getting chicks and drinking, and And it was just really fun. It was extremely fun.
Did you have a nemesis? Did you have a nemesis on the junior tour? I'm always curious to know what, like, you know, the grommy arm wrestles.
Not really. I wasn't like, nah. Everyone was kind of evenly matched in results and stuff like that. You talk about that junior series bullshit, but that I won. But I didn't know I was like 8th or something. I didn't know I was even in a chance until we paddled out, and they were like, "Oh, whoever wins this final, by the way, wins the junior series." You're like, "Fuck you!" I can't believe you did that. You just said that to me.
I hope it wasn't me reading that out. I feel bad now.
Yeah, I did a couple of chop ups and got through somehow. But
Fuck, it was a big deal. The junior series.
Yeah, the junior series was mental, and that was my last event last year on it, and I just finished on such a high that it was really cool. But then through that, I got a seed into the QS. And I did about 6 months, didn't really like it, chilled out on it, and then went back the next year to try and do another kick at it. And I think I did another 6 months, and I just mid-heat in Brazil couldn't get a wave after like multiple events, not getting waves in heats from hassling, not even being able to. I went to Fiji, the past a point one. And I didn't get a wave the whole trip.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Even the free surf's just locusts.
Yeah. And I was spending all my money, and I was going to like other ends of the earth, not seeing shit, just like going from hotel to comp site, losing, packing, going straight to the other end of the earth. It's not the way to see the world, I realised. And I was just mid-heat in Brazil. I just paddled straight in and walked off and quit that day. And I remember
That's amazing.
Yeah. Some guys just quit surfing like that. Like, it's exactly what Occy did the first time he quit pro surfing.
Yeah.
It was just, in a CT, I might have even been late into the draw, like a semi or something, in dead flat Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
And he just paddled in and went, "That's it, I'm done."
That's
finished.
so sick.
Yeah.
That's classy.
There was a period in my life when I was like working out that I'm happy when I do things that make me happy. And I got over that shit. And I wanted to go surf and see the world and properly live the experience of travel and surfing. And
Live on. Let the man live.
yeah, let me live. And I didn't want to beat anyone.
Your life!
I didn't want to beat anyone. I didn't think I was better than anyone. I just like didn't have it in me. So I quit.
Just on that past the point QS.
That thing was so scorched.
I'm pretty sure that Wiggly Dante's got all your waves and everyone else's waves on the whole QS.
Yeah.
Well played,
Just
Wiggly.
motoring up the inside and just out frothing everyone, just flying directly at their heads as they tried to paddle, and no one pulled him up on it. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. The positive from that was having a sheesh and watching like Dustin Barker do these huge backside straighties. I remember that. That was worth it.
That's a worthy memory.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good waste of time.
It's a pretty good
Yeah.
spot too, just having a couple of beers. I mean, I know it's expensive, but sitting on that point there, it's breaking. You could literally throw a tennis ball and hit someone in the head on a wave. It's
I'd love to go there without 300 piranhas.
Number 4.
Amigos. Now back in the cashed out mid-noughties, if you won or performed well in the junior series, the fruit of your labour would be magazine covers, energy drink sponsors, and even a Surfing Life funded trip to Mexico with the top 5 seeds with their young budding film intern Kai Neville.
Wow, so they're sending 16, 17-year-old kids to Mexico chaperoned by Kai Neville? Kidding? What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, so the 20-minute Sandbottom masterpiece had an amazing cast. We've got Westo's BCF ambassador, Rye Craig. We've got Old Bar's most predictable, Ben Dunn. We've got a pre-shapeshifter era, Yaden Nicole, and Tasmania's most toey, Dion Aegis, and none other than Moffat Beach Mafia's kingpin, Wade Goodall.
Wow,
it's a
sick
cover
trip.
It's a cover mount DVD for the ages. A bunch of Australia's most promising graduating class in Puerto Escondido, in shin skimming trunks and clear as silver before picture mugs. It's some really raucous interviews, but Wade holds his own and then some, with some tapped aerial make rates and a staunch performance on a 6'6" Sparrow pintail no grip out at Solid Puerto. Run us through that trip.
Oh, those were so fun, those trips. that trip especially was so raucous. Yeah, it was just how we got to do that was special and it was fun. But anyway, it's like you go to Porto Escondido and you think like giant beachy pits, and it was the exact opposite. It was just like little ramps and then a little left point and stuff. It's kind of perfect for us at that point. But we partied heaps. It was really fun to party there.
Talk us through the party scene over there. What does it look like?
We just kind of hung to the beachfront because it was kind of scary. Hadn't been to Mexico before, and you hear all the stories and stuff. So
Who was your chaperone too? Who was?
I can't remember if there was one.
Just 16, 17-year-olds let loose in Mexico.
Yeah,
How fucking
basically.
crazy is that? Like, if
We were
you tried
pretty.
to.
Sorry.
No, well, like if you just tried to do that today, it would be like, well, the dads would come, and then the surf coaches, and then the fucking TMs for everyone.
It's everything that's wrong with surfing, isn't it? Surfcore.
Yeah, it's psycho that it's just the boys.
Yeah, it was just different too then. Like we were all hardened travelers at that point. 16-year-old at that time had been traveling by themselves for a good like 10 years.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It felt like I went to shit by myself when I was
Walked
so
out the
young.
gates of Moffat Beach Primary
Yeah.
School and never looked back. Had his rucksack on his shoulder and his
Yeah.
board bag under his arm.
And unless you had a turbo dad, you were just out there with your mates and everyone looked after each other and stuff. So that's what we did there. I remember one night, it was pretty funny. There was this bar that was like a library on the beach, and typical just party scene. Some guy challenged me to a cigarette trick smoking contest. And I obliged because I'm from Caloundra. And it went off. It was really good competition. I think he won, but
How?
we both got kicked out.
What was his trick in the Jap's eye? That's a
Can't
classic.
I actually saw that at Aint That Swell live in Bondi.
Yeah.
Mental.
Oh, that was Blake Moe.
Yeah,
Moe. Yeah, the Spit the Winkler, the swelling.
What really impressed me wasn't that he could fit the cigarette in his eye, that he could actually smoke out of it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Unbelievable.
His
He's a
lungs
man
in
of-
his nuts or something. That's amazing.
Man of
Should
many
study
talents.
that guy.
Shout out to Scum Valley's finest himself. Well played.
But yeah, I remember the big thing about that night was getting kicked out and Crakey taking me under his wing, and I kind of like really respected Crakey. He was a bit older and did some amazing stuff. You know, he's an insane surfer and funny dude. So he's like, "I'll sort you out, Wado," and he took me back to his hotel room, put on the Disturbed CD, cranked it, and shaved my head. And he's like, "Let's go back to that bar," and he got me back in.
Down with the sickness.
Yeah, we were, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Who needs electroconvulsive therapy when you've got Ryan Craik in your corner?
Or chaperones. Yeah. but that
Forget
was,
the ice baths. Forget the Wim Hof's Vaughan.
It was written on the wall for Rye Craig. He won an air show when he was 15? 16. Well, Quicksilver did the air show series.
Yeah.
Is this in your notes, or can I play this one out?
No, go
So
for it.
Quicksilver in Australia, around about right on the turn of the millennium, we're just going, you know what? Fucking, we're sick of waiting around for, airs to come to competition. Let's take the competition to the air guys. Created a tour, and it was just, I mean, if you thought that the QS was, a house of degeneracy and just absolute loony behaviour, imagine getting Dave Nielsen, James Caddo,
Randy the Goose Welch.
Randy the Goose Welsh. It was
Drew
just
Adler.
this
Bruce Irons was
travelling
in it.
circus of absolute maniacs. And we
Kurt
went over to
Flintoff.
Cottesloe, and Rye Craig won. He won this event in almost non-breaking waves. And, they just drowned him in emu bitter. And I think he stayed drowned for the rest of his life, didn't he?
I know whenever you go up to Calbarry, you can still smell it on him.
Oh, mate, it was sick. But that was a pretty magic era. You got to surf in a few of those too, didn't you, mate?
Yeah, the air show was the best time of my surfing, I feel like. So I was on the junior series, maybe not even yet, maybe early stages. And the air shows started popping off and it looked so mental. And I was obsessed with jumps when I was little because that's all you can do in Caloundra, it's just mini ramps. But I remember hitting up Billabong. I was like, I want to go on these air shows. And they're like, no, you have to go in the junior series. And I was like, well, can't I do both? And they're like, yeah, if you want, but we're not helping you. I was like, okay, cool. And I just flew to Piha. I flew to my first one was New Zealand. Flew to the airport by myself and just sat there the day before the comp and just waited for someone to walk out of the arrivals that I knew was in the comp.
Yeah.
So I did like a good day, and then Jared Sunderland walked out, and he gave me a lift to
Classic.
the campsite where he was camping, and he's like, "Oh, have you got any food, Wade?" And I was like, "Oh, fuck, no, I don't have food either." He's like, "Okay, we'll go to you," and it was just me and him in the tent the first night, and we just ate mushies and drank something warming.
What's his idea? What's his idea of food? Here you go, mate. This will sort you out. Handful of gold tops straight from the PR headland.
And then the
They're
next,
from behind Neil Finn's place.
yeah. But that was the kind of situation it was, and it was like really funny and really fun. And the next day I went to the comp, met Dave Nielsen, and just travelled with him from then on.
Oh, and what was that like? He's
The
a true
greatest.
guru, a true oracle, Dave Nielsen.
Yeah.
There was no
The latest
aerial
finest.
surfing in this country before Dave Nielsen. He was the guy. He brought it.
Such a lord.
Yeah, he is the one. Dave is the most iconic and underappreciated surfer in Australian history, I reckon.
What's he doing for a quid these days, Davo? He's on the hammer and sickle somewhere, wouldn't he?
He's Cretan, I think, for a bit.
No, but,
I haven't lost
on
touch.
the
He was up
barrel.
in Noosa for a bit. That reminds me I've got to reach out.
But I saw him last time I saw him. I think I was telling you this story just a couple of eps ago, Smithy. We'd organised a teams challenge up at Newcastle. It was an industry teams challenge event. He was in our team. We sort of had a group meeting the night before the comp, and we were like, all right, see you down there. These are the order of the surfers, blah, blah, blah. I went to bed, and then I woke up, at Sparrows the next morning, walked out on the veranda of the pub, and there's Dave with a T-shirt on but no pants, just swinging his pants over his head like a lasso on the median strip outside the pub. It's like 5 a.m. No sleep. Absolutely.
He's so fucking cheeky. He's a true punk, but he's also hell nice too, which I think that was like a bit of a schooling. It's like he's so
Such
funny.
a nice guy,
So
yeah.
funny, but like he's so nice, but at the same time, like he had Nick Wallace in one heat in Perth or whatever, and he made me draw an upside down cross on his back. So when he went out he went to check in next to Nick, and being a Christian didn't go down too well.
Well played.
But just that kind of shit, I was like, why did you do that? He's like, I don't know, I just had to. And he taught me how to fight. He's like, you just bash yourself before they do. Just like his
That's where that lineage of
lessons were
self-harm
so
comes from.
strange.
Aussie Ride, of
I'm
course.
so
Yeah, well,
funny.
that's it. Yeah, Oz
He taught
was
Aussie too.
under
Yeah.
Dave's wing, definitely. That's where he the first time he ever saw an aerial was on a surf trip for tracks, I think, with Dave, and that's steered him. And it's interesting to hear that you were also, basically tutored, mentored by him, because he is just one of those characters, mate. There's no one like him.
No.
Well, I'm stoked to pay tribute to him here. Up the
Definitely.
Davey.
Yeah, Nelson.
Hearing what happens next. Number 3.
Passion pop. When you're a grom, you've already got cutties and floaters down. Try some airs, boys. That was the profound call to action of Wade Goodall's magnum opus, Passion Pop.
You heard the man.
P-Pop was a full tilt reckoning of all things good in surfing in 2006. A stacked field of loose units suckling at the ample teat of a pre-GFC surf industry, whacking it to an unashamed Australian hip-hop soundtrack. Wade was
Unashamed Australian hip hop track. Those words do not exist in the same sentence together, Vaughn.
Wade was fucking peaking, bringing tech airs into competitions and unique lines into free surfing. A litany of core icons were in the cast. Memorable moments from fellow Billabong stablemates include Sean Cansell surfing backdoor at night, Taj acid dropping out of a helicopter in a basketball jersey, and Luke Dawes and Woodstock in a go for hell for leather piss-fueled dance-a-thon. Tribal Elders, Margot and AI both with some iconic mature age rail game, and Oki coining his iconic phrase, one board, one wax job. Passion Pop was the quintessential scratch disc in every worthy Grom's DVD wallet, and as timeless as Diamante bedazzled DC skate shoes and hilltop hoods. Wade, tell us a bit about making Passion Pop and the trick itself.
That was just
Incredible.
that was really good. I mean, that time in surfing was fucked up. We had it so easy, and it was a lot of fun. Around that, I don't know why they decided to pick a piddly little shove it that I did to launch that whole scenario. But they did. It's marketing 101. But yeah, somehow that all came together, and it was, I don't know. It was that I'm super embarrassed about the intros that I did with that fucking Strook white flat brim.
I reckon it's so iconic.
It's hard for a kid to come out of Caloundra in the 2000s.
Mate, it was a tough era for youth, really. Youth fashion was, it was an ugly period.
Yeah.
As we can see on show.
But that was so fun, that project. That was my first like humongous surf video to be in. So the fact that they went so turbo and it was really fun. They named it after a bottle of cheap piss that we all got rampant on every weekend when we were little. Like, we didn't have any money. We
Rite of passage in this country.
Yeah.
You got $3.50. You got a night. And that's where it came from. Dean Brady named it. I didn't want to name it. Got forced to name it by the corporate oppression. Yeah, I think Dean Brady named it Passion Pop.
That's what you say in the film, yeah.
I
I think he says, you drink a shitload of Passion Pop, why don't you just call it that? And then you go,
It's
Yeah,
cool.
so-
like,
but
just emanating coolness.
Yeah, it's
reflecting on this just takes me back to just how much you'd analyze the videos back in the day. You know, like that's what I'm hoping happens with Pentecostal, because it was just such a fucking huge deal to any new video coming out, even though they were starting to swamp by then. They were coming out a lot more regularly, but they still meant the world, man. Like, you can speak to anyone who's a grommet underneath you, and they'll talk about how influential that movie was to them.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and it makes me stoked that people took that away from it. But it's still cooked.
Bring back the sacred texts, Vaughn. You know what I mean? I mean, we've entered this kind of tidbit, web edit era. It's all a bit of a galaxy of bits and bobs, isn't it? I mean, that's what Pentecostal breaks the mold there. But, I actually just recently found my whole stack of DVDs and VHSs. And it was, it's kind of cool to have it all there. And there are iconic films that still stand up today. And you can put those films on, weirdly, and they're still incredible.
Oh, man.
The surfing still stands up.
Big time.
Almost prefer it.
Yeah,
well,
the cast
Andy's
is
section.
mental too. Yeah, Andy's section is.
Man.
I rewatched it last night. Obviously, Andy and Margot have some fucking insane things. Oki's only got a few waves, but they're fucking ballistic. Luke Dawes, his
Luke
section
Dawes
is
surfs so good.
fucking tapped. Sean
Yeah.
Cansell, amazing. Vassar's got a section in there, a couple of waves. They're mental. And
That's surf's insane.
yeah,
But yeah, what was I going to say? When cutting that movie, Jake had that Andy section in 2 songs by JJ Cale, and it was the best double song section I've ever seen. It was incredible, and Andy didn't want it. We wanted the amp section, so he got Mickey Avalon or whatever. But I just remember when it came out and it was Mickey Avalon when it came on, I was just like, because I'd seen that one and it was like just an ode to Morning of the Earth or something, like eternally good surfer to really good music, and it was going to be maybe one of the best sections, but it never came out.
Does it still exist on Donlan's
I
hard
don't
drive?
know. I'll ask him.
Come on, man.
It was
Ask him.
insane.
Big
get
shout
that.
out. Big shout out to Jake.
Straight on
Yeah.
YouTube.
yeah.
Mate, the original collaborator for you. What a powerhouse you two were for a long period of time there.
Yeah, we had a good stint. He's a really talented dude, good friend. Fucking, he's a rat. He's everything good. He's scum Sunny Coast Taunton. Come good. Still up there doing the same shit, making stuff for the community. That's what he did for us when we grew up. That's how we started filming and stuff.
Mental. Community man. Good on you, Jake.
Yeah, he is. He's a legend.
Donlan.